Hello and welcome to another VOD review, gameplay VOD review. We need to come up with a name for these. I guess it's just a gameplay, but it was fun to do on Saturday. We'll try get out, 3 a week once I get into a rhythm, but today we're back with a Kha'Zix Grandmaster versus Elise Grandmaster. I'll slap the runes in post. You'll see Dark Harvest, Sudden Impact, Eyeball, Ravenous, and a Triumph Precision secondary tree. Now most of the time, at least in terms of play rate, you're seeing the classic Booties and Cosmic Insight. Or let me just make sure Booties and Cosmic Insight. Want to make sure the data, is actually correct when I refer to it. So this is a bit of a different play style, I guess, than what a lot of you will see in a classic Assassin. More damage, although I think the rune set on Precision is sometimes a little bit overrated in certain environments. But here you'll notice 5 squishy champions. So when they're low, might as well make sure they don't exist. And especially good against things like Kale, where that surprising damage at the end can cause her to not use her ultimate in a timely fashion. We have Seraphine, Lulu, and Shen. That means the damage in win con will 100% come down to the Ezreal or the Kha'Zix. So we'll watch as we begin. Getting a leash here on the red buff. Typical at this point. I'm releasing a video on the main channel tomorrow, so keep your eyes out for that one on the best things to look for in Season 11 jungle. We'll hit on some of it here. But obviously Elise, Rek'Sai, same kind of style choice, AD versus AP, early game, mid game spiking. In low elos, people don't really elevate the game state to the point that they really get to use their spikes. Whereas with Kha'Zix, you can keep scaling, but those 5v5 death balls are also what we're trying to avoid. Smiting the big one here, kiting it out, kiting it around. All the basics you know and love in every Kha'Zix coaching we've ever talked about to try and get isolated damage as much as possible. At this point, the Elise started top side because of course, bottom lane. No mana, showing late, showing early or on time, and so on. Pretty standard stuff. Now, what would you expect the Elise to do here? According to Season 10, Season 9 metrics, we'd expect a 3-camp gank. Season 11 is showing junglers being a bit more cautious with their clears early. Even though the experience hasn't changed too much, there's a lot of experience in these Krugs, as you can see. We need to use our W, auto attack, and then a Q. And now we can go about our merry way. Lulu mid is interesting from a ganking perspective. I don't think we're looking to turbo gank mid lane. Lulu should have a bit of shove potential, peel, roam potential. We want to be able to shadow this and make sure Elise doesn't get fed on it. Bottom lane is decent, but again, Thresh lanes are always so annoying to gank. Very annoying to gank. I don't enjoy it. Because they didn't leash, and they did leash, what you're going to have now is them, of course, getting 2 prior. So this is an inherent risk. Now, 218, you're thinking, right, we better get ready for that Elise play. But you'll see on the minimap here, she did Raptors. Raptors are huge because Raptors get counter-jungled a lot. As soon as Elise does this, right, if Kha'Zix does this, and Elise shows, Kha'Zix then will flex into a top gank, or just counter-jungling the Raptors, leaving a baby, and that will hamstring the Elise's own experience gain. Which is why in the Jungle Roots video we released on the main channel, going Reddit to Raptors is very popular. It was popular at Worlds as well. And then you can decide if you want to go Blue Grump or do the whole quadrant. She's going to do the whole quadrant. Bottom lane, we can watch this play out. Flash, Flay, Hook. Is there any other more predictable combo in the bottom lane? I don't think so. Careful there, Misfortune. Careful there. Alright, so that lane is looking kind of upsetting for the blue team. Kha'Zix is simply going to go about his way. What you're looking to do here is, as an assassin, with a little bit of waffle pathing, you see this ping? Level 2, low. Shen, 9 to 1 CS, as you'd expect. Squishy Kale, useless. What people don't do enough in low elos is punish these scaling lanes, especially when you've got a team fighting macro-oriented pick on your team. This is not only peel, and you'll see later, really aids in the Kha'Zix's experience juicing as well as team protection. So what Kale is going to do here, go back to base really early. Now, if you're using your F keys, which you should be, this should have been seen. We should have seen the flash ignite from the Thresh. Watch the minimap. As you see the icons move, you can insinuate exactly what's going on. He's going to do his wolves into his blue. If you can, do blue and Grump together with your champion. Say Hecarim, you smite it, you get the regen from the smite, you get the regen from the Grump. Then And if you can do that before 315, then you can fall into the crab, and that gives you the best control. But not all champions can do that. So Kha'Zix here doesn't really know exactly where Elise is, although it's 99% sure she's on the bottom side. So he's going to go and do this crab. Obviously the shield, no CC, that's a bit tragic. Watch the bottom lane here. As I click, perfect timing. Nice ward by the bottom lane. I've also played a lot of support. This is something you have to track and pay attention to. Over the wall, flash, cocoon, hits the W and the Q, into the execute, well, supposed execute damage on the Q, dodges with the repel, and now is going to try get out. This is a greed play. It's pure and simple. From the Kha'Zix's point of view, this is going to open up a lot of things. From the Elise's point of view, this is a little bit forced, because tier MF, I'm not going to pretend to know misfortune builds, but there you go, Muramana is getting nerfed for the AP builds though. I mean, you don't have a lot of minions here, you know? And if you're tracking the minions, now usually this replicates this exactly, usually, always. So you know that there's a wave right behind the tower. You know there's a wave coming right behind the tower, and you only have 3 minions here. This is a... I mean, I get it because they like to do it in Korea, and it is often a very good play. But because she didn't do a shorter route, because she did a 5 cam, the timing's a little off to what Elise's would normally look for. Now, it's now or never. You know, it's now or never. If you don't make this play right now, it's not going to happen. Now, the Seraphine would not have seen the Elise, okay? You see the Fog of War here. So the Elise uses this, but the Seraphine's blocking any potential damage. It's just good positioning. So instead of the Ezreal getting hit by it, Seraphine gets hit by it. They just disengage. There's no more waves to tank. They try to help, but Elise dodges the aggro too soon. Now the misfortune is dead. So from the Kha'Zix's point of view, who we're focusing on here, this is great. This is very, very great. And there's going to be a little bit of a different shift into how we speak about things. So it's warded. He doesn't know because he doesn't go back to get scanner early. But I don't really understand this from the laner perspective. Like, you're Grandmaster, right? Like, you're a Grandmaster Kale, yes? What's going on in your in your mind here? I really sympathize greatly. You want the experience. I understand, but come on. This is point blank, and you know Shen has smite. He has ignite, flash, and taunt. Why are you playing with fire in the most literal sense? Because from the blue team's perspective, they don't think it's warded at all. He just thinks, hey, free gank, right? Doesn't use the E. Notice this. This is very... So the flash here is on cooldown because of the replay glitch, but Kale actually does use her flash in the gank. So he doesn't use his E, right? You want to make sure you get your damage and use that E when she flashes. So here he's just biding his time. He's just walking up to her. He has all his spells off cooldown currently. So he can afford to E, okay? Just EQ, I guess. That's all he really needs. Didn't even have to use W at all. That's beautifully played. Horrifically played by the Kale. Now Shen wants to go back, okay? Leave the wave, please, he says. Now Kha'Zix has two choices here, okay? Elise took the crab and now wants to repeat gank bottom lane because they're shoving, trying to get denial after the Pepe Squash, Pepega Hands dive, right? Problem is they're out of mana. He is at the very least. This you should also track. I understand the waves won't always be in the best position, but you can either lose CS and survive, or you can try and greed CS and end up dying. So let's see. Okay, Thresh has just turbo baited this. Okay, big brain Thresh. You know, that's just... Bottom lane should be tracking this, but it happens. I understand. Like, it's real. You know, if junglers were always respected, they would never get kills. So, the Kha'Zix here, once he sees the Elise go down, should have been able to track, okay, she dove bottom lane with a flash and had 20 CS. Okay, now at that point, she could have done the crab. So he doesn't know exactly what she did, but at the very least, this and this should be up level 1. He doesn't value those takes as tier 1 camps. You could deny, but the value injected into his own slimy veins wouldn't be that great. So you reset for 2 reasons. 1, you currently have no bottom lane. Okay, so no bottom lane means this is at risk. If they decide to roam, invade, if they try to make plays here, you're by yourself. This is also spawning, and this is spawning. So what you can do, and what he does do, is repeat gank top lane. There you go. Let's repeat gank top lane, okay? Absolutely free on the KO, still melee champion, okay? Straightforward, easy. And you'll notice he's gone Dark Harvest, as I said. This is always the biggest snowballing rune. Seraphine does a great job. This is almost a total VOD review, but it's worth talking about if you play other positions. Their bottom lane, the Thresh had to reset, okay? So there's no need now to go bottom lane and sit in the 2v1 lane. Sure, you could zone, you could try and make a play, but it's Seraphine. I mean, if I'm a Zyra, even, I like to roam. So while the enemy bot is back to base, give this guy solo experience. Very, very huge for an Ezreal. Roam mid lane. You got a Lulu, nice root, okay? Chunk the Akali, you don't kill her, but now you create prio on the map. It's a good play from support. Kha'Zix now in here isn't too concerned about all this nonsense. Okay, we've gotten a kill and assist top lane. We should have 2 stacks of harvest, which we do. Let's watch the whole thing play out from the Elisa's point of view. It's a good rotation. The Thresh doesn't need to go bottom lane. The Elisa is still top side here. Hasn't even reset yet. So let's collapse and try and make something happen. Miss skill shots. Seraphine things happen. And she has to disengage. She's going back to base anyway, so it's not the biggest, you know, worst thing that can happen to the Elise, but that's very good for Kha'Zix. Ganking junglers like Elise and Rek'Sai get punished most when they waste time trying to get kills and they don't get them. And Kha'Zix, on the other hand, says, thank you, I got 2 ganks off with great success with the same KDA. I've already looped a tier 1, okay, the Grump was tier 1, but a tier 2 wolf camp. The Elise got the tier 2 wolf camp also, so that, well, not as far apart as you would think. But here is the prediction tracking. He walks over the control ward. Now the control ward gives him away. However, because Elise took this camp and went back to this lane, and this is warded, the fact that this is warded is big. You can click this and say, right, tier 4 camp. Most likely she's going to want to head top side. Because bottom side, there's going to be no control for her with only just 1 camp. So the Kha'Zix does a good thing here. He recognizes this in his tracking. Elise is going top side. She's been bottom side for so long, she's going to have to. That gank ends up paying off for the Lulu solo kill in the Akali. Very nice. Bottom lane is here. Knows the Kha'Zix is in the area. Kha'Zix says, Elise top, mid dead. Alright, free dragon. It's a good read. Very good read. Bottom lane doesn't go for it, so what you could do is attempt a bottom lane gank here, but you're not 6, and you know because they disappeared up that it's warded. Okay, it's warded. So, in this case, I think getting your level 4 Krugs and Raptors is a good idea. You also have red coming up. Kali's pushing mid. Elise most likely top side. Most likely her red spawning. It's a good indication. I'd be surprised if she wasn't, actually. Yeah. She did her Raptors and then into this. Wait. I pepe'd. That's a red ward. If it was a blue ward, it's a good one for Kha'Zix. It's a red ward defending the Raptors, so never mind. Scratch that one sentence. My bad. Crab is up, but Ezreal's going back to base, so you just give it up. Q evolve first, more isolated damage, better farm potential, better monster secures. Always good. The ult first evolution into Harvest is still a classic style. But I don't see this a lot. They might be communicating, I have no idea. But if you have a mid with you, this is so fun. Shove mid lane, especially when it's in a bit of a slow push, just help them shove it and roam together. And the reason for this being so good is, you know, as we said, the Elise is probably going to go top side. And the fact that you got a free dragon and no Elise showing anywhere means this is confirmed. Elise also doesn't show top side on this ward, which means as you place this, your suspicions, your extended tracking gets confirmed with vision. That's always what it is. Your tracking is an extension of what you actually know. And eventually, you either have to confirm or deny what's been going on. Which is why when you see people smurfing, hey guys, 100% the Elise is on the red, you know, and she's down here for some reason. The vision is the only thing that gives you concrete evidence. So Elise is sequencing down based upon this knowledge, which means you got a free 3v1 dive. And this Kale, Dyrus, man. What? I mean, we didn't even need to alter Kha'Zix. Absolute Dyrus. Now what happens is, because of that, I think, he thinks when it's on screen. Good job. At least it's bottom lane, trying to make more things happen, right? Misfortune's ulting. Boom. Beautiful timing. She sequences down, feels a desperate need to force a gank bottom lane. Kha'Zix shoves and roams up with a Lulu for the dive and a starved Kale. They go for this kill very quickly. Shen says, but I am Shen. Last second ult. Saves the Seraphine. At least goes for the Omega dive. Shen has nothing, but he can probably... It's probably too far out. Like, you could try, but... yeah, no, if you taunt and you don't hit anyone and you ignite and it's not enough, potentially you end up griefing. Knowledge of champion there. But this is great for Kha'Zix because he gets an extra plate here. Okay. 160 gold solo. He gets to do this control ward. And because Elise is bottom lane, and because Akali's roaming bottom lane too, free Herald. The reads of tracking, and if you path opposite, will give you all the objective control you need. And that's why I love good pathing opposite to junglers. It might put your lanes in a bit of a disadvantage. Okay? But it means the lane that you're ganking on the opposite side should have an advantage. And if that's a Shen, it's always good. But it also means that if you do it correctly, you get the dragons, you get the heralds, and now you can ping pong back down to the dragon. It's nice. What do you think? I was going to say, what do you think you should do next? Because a lot of times, we talk about finishing your quadrant before resetting. In this case, you don't want to because 2,100 gold equals a Dusk Blade. Alright? You've got Mythic Item Spike, exact gold. You know Elise is on the bottom side, and you most likely have a dragon. Now we learned, you guys will be impressed to know, that the timers are simply behind my minimap. So dragon in 214. So you did have time to go ahead and do the blue side camps before resetting, but that would put you behind a little bit on cadence with the Elise, which is something we're trying to match here. Seraphine dies, face checking to ward. Ezreal dies as well. Elise is 3-0-1 as a byproduct of just doing the same thing over and over again and smashing her head against the wall and eventually getting fed from it. Kha'Zix, on the other hand, has had a bit more nuance to his pathing, and at the end of the day, who would you say is jungling better? I still think that the Kha'Zix is jungling better. He's jungling with more purpose. He's jungling with better objective control. He's played around his mid lane and top lane very, very well. And while bottom lane has been sacrificed, he still has the dragon control. And that's something huge. If you sacrifice your bottom lane, and they still scale, and you're still getting the objectives, I'm okay with that. They're not. They're typing jungle gap, but the Elise really is... That's nice. You see, on the ward, going back on the ward is tragic, because he just waits, and now he can collapse. Now, the misfortune, again, no respect. They might have assumed by taking this, he's going to reset all of blue side, so by skipping it, it gives you a cadence advantage. The unexpected cadence advantage. Now, you don't want to use a herald there. The wave is the wave. Kha'Zix just left it pushing in slowly. Perfect for bottom lane. Krugs. Now, we want a sequence. Now, I understand Hecarim players and a lot of farming junglers want a sequence up. You feel compelled to do all of these, to finally take them off the map, second blue, to gank the Kale again. But you have to react to what's happening. Everyone on the map is gone. Kali is dead, at least reset, and Thresh is holding mid lane. There are 3.2 plates left, which means we can easily use this for a Herald play. This is good. It's warded again. She's gone top lane. For what purpose? I'm not sure. I'm not sure you're going to accomplish much. They've all come back into a cannon wave to try and make a play, but they see the Kha'Zix. So for me, this is, again, just... They're trying to force it. Now, it's very close, right? In fact, they actually kill her. But they know the Kha'Zix is there. And so, by using things, and she just flashes there. Auto passive. Get the Duskblade invisible proc. And the stun. Now we can go back in. We Q for the effect. You just auto, but let's Q. Let them know. And now you can use the Herald. Like again, it's a play that shouldn't have happened. But junglers will say to me, yes, but in low elo, it isn't warded, and my laners die. And on low elo, this is most likely not warded either. So you could have easily made that play. The high elo players on the red team sort of let a low elo play, quote unquote, occur even though it shouldn't have. I understand that the desire to shut down the Lulu, but come on. You saw the Kha'Zix. Should have. Let's look at the vision. So the Kali dies as well. Let's just assess this. We don't have vision of the Elise at this point. So it's a good collapse by the Elise. You do have to be careful. You should disengage here. The Herald will get the proc. There are the Elises. So at this point, not much you can do. Shen's ult not up. You just kill. He actually almost gets away with that. Did you see that? The Duskblade. He almost gets the Duskblade to misdirect enough. But I don't really have a huge issue with that play. It's a little bit shutdown goal to the Elise. But the Akali dies, you get 2 kills, you get quite a few plates. It's good. And what that does most notably is it opens up bottom lane as well. And Shen got the solo kill on the Kayle because he's so far ahead, and his ult will be up again. It is up again now for the dragon fight. So again, out of the base, where do you think Kha'Zix should go? Most people, again, are obsessed with, and I know I instigate this a little bit, with the quadrant clearing. There Shen goes. His ult goes through here. But the dragon's up, so we go bottom side. Kayle TP's to match. Okay, Kale's TP's to match. Lulu's caught out. You 100% are going bottom lane here. You're not going to this. This, at this point, was sacrificed. Those camps were sacrificed. Lulu? Lulu? Lulu. Smite down, so that means they don't have smite for dragon. Not a fan. I mean, the Elise is doing a good enough job, it just lacks elegance. It's just trying to brute force early game leads, but she doesn't realize that at this point, you're down almost 1,000 gold, 900 gold to the Kha'Zix. Like, she's up to CS in 501, but the guy's still way far ahead because of plates. Plates. I don't think Red Team knows that his isn't up, but they know that Elise's isn't because of the fact that she used it. They don't want to fight it. They do not want... At this point, she's not really a champion. Akali went top lane, and she's just yeah, they're just giving it up. They're just giving it up. They like a smite and the fact that they just don't win 4v4. Right. Red. Why? I mean, you kill the Ezreal, but there's 2 plates left. And you know Kha'Zix and the Seraphine are in the area. There's no... It's... Burn damage. Burn damage. If they can make those mistakes, that will happen in your games. Just don't do the Krugs. And this is huge for tomorrow's video. This play, not in this level, but something like it happens, and the jungler is on the Krugs. And I'm watching this VOD, and I'm just doing this to myself. I cannot believe that they're all 3 bottom laners and the jungle, they just left. And the Graves was here on the Krugs. This Kha'Zix doesn't make that mistake. And you shouldn't. You shouldn't. It's pretty easy to avoid. Right. So, they had to give up a 50-50 dragon because no smite. Akali was top lane. Okay. Now, finally, he can sequence up. Next objective will be the Herald, so... He's actually sequencing down. Let's be more educated about this. 125. So we have time. But I can't play without a minimap, so. Ezreal's taking the Krugs for some reason. We really want, at this point, so you're asking, why is he sequencing? Pure reason is get these quickly off the map so they can reset again at a higher level. That'll be at that you know, elevated experience level 9 level. He also wants 11 as soon as possible, because 11 will give him the W evolve most likely, and ability to win fights with a 2-level lead on the Elise. Bottom lane is reset. Lulu's pushing mid lane. Here, I would be slightly concerned with pathing here. I'd be concerned. Here, you're warded and safe, but she's pretty safe, actually. I would be concerned about a hook from this angle, maybe a cocoon here. So the Lulu has to be very careful. Then you see the pings come out as well on the map. Pings come out. Kha'Zix is scanning. He knows something's afoot. And there they go. See? But it's Lulu. Predator Thresh misses his hook. Well, ain't that a thing? Now, look at this. Again. Walks through wards. He scanned this. Now, Seraphine should have placed a control ward here. That meant the Kha'Zix could have saved his scanner and gotten knowledge. Because there's no reason to scan so early if you have control wards. Because you can control ward and then scan on your way up. Either way, he doesn't think he's seen, so let's observe. Actually, the time control's up the whole time, but she control ward's there to deny vision to force him to go the long way. He just goes down to collapse on this tower, but you know at this point they're gonna be rotating with the Elise and the Thresh. Nice ult by the Seraphine, does a lot of damage. Heal is used, Cocoon is thrown out, Elise is disengaged, not even interested in that fight whatsoever. So that Seraphine is turning online big time. He really wants 11 this Kha'Zix, he needs it for that evolve. So now, oftentimes people will say, right, we have a lead in the mid game and we throw. Because what happens is a lot of times you might force reset here a little early just to get the Herald. I'm guilty of this as well. But we have a wave pushing, a chunk Thresh. Lulu is just dismantling mid lane. The KO and the Akali, the solo laners this game, crushed. Crushed because Lulu did her job. Seraphine roamed early. Kha'Zix dismantled top lane himself. Nice. We get followers even though I'm not live. We gotta set up a proper setting for the gameplay. So why not stick around, push the wave here, and look to make a play. Oh, hello Elise. Q, W. Flash gone. Thank you very much. He actually ulted as well. Might have been able to save his ult a little bit. But that's fine. It's up 49 seconds. Collapse in the mid lane. Let me shadow the mid lane. This is what shadowing is, right? If she's gonna push blind with no vision, and you suspect a collapse from the enemy team, be in the area, do your camps, set a trap, and then you can make things turn around. Lulu ult, Shen ult. Double taunt almost. W evolve is the 90% slow and wave clear and high elo is just too good. The utility from W evolve is just supreme. All right, Akali dies anyway. Kha'Zix goes for a ride. The game's looking pretty much done, to be honest. But look at his mindset now. It isn't, hey, let's fall back to our jungle. It's let's put the pressure on. Remove the jungle from them. Make picks continually have the numbers advantage. And he's done the most damage by far. And even here, he's gonna do the crab. Now let's do the Herald quickly, because we can group and have a really nice team push. But if a fight develops here, you don't want to leave them on an island, because you're the most fed member, so this is a good rotation. Like, they won't expect him to always be there. Ult up again. It's so easy. The damage from Duskblade. At least misses the cocoon. Flash. Q goes through. He should have W and... Good night, sweet prince. And now we can do the Herald. Carly's top lane again. I mean, there's not much they can do. Now you're just flowing down to the dragon. Make sure you maintain that control. You've got all the waves pushing, which is perfect. Exactly what we're looking for. Now, Lulu goes on a wild adventure here. Seraphine's not in the fight, so Kha'Zix says, right, while Seraphine's not in the fight, let me secure some camps. Not all of them, mind you. Let me get one camp that gives me some benefit in combat, especially the red, and then I can sync up with the Lulu and sync up with my bottom lane. See, now you've got a nice unified push. That's what we're looking for. Really, really useful. Warded. Doesn't matter. Herald over the wall. They're pushing mid lane. This is absolutely fine. We've got a Seraphine who can ult. There we go. Shen can ult as well. Kha'Zix can roam from the bottom lane, as you see. Here we go. W for the 90%. Well, if isolated, of course. Boom. Tower diving with a Lulu ult and dead. So, assassins, you guys can have an easy time, but you gotta put the foot down when you have those leads. This is well played. High elo, expect this kind of macro. Low elo, you're not gonna get the kind of macro, but you can still take advantage of people just walking into bushes and killing them. It's easy to do for you. Got a charge on the tower as well, so. Yeah. This is done. Done. So, excellent 5 camp clear early. Good idea picking on the Kayle. Abused the fact that Elise spent so much time bottom lane to get top lane ahead. Pathed very well. Gave up top side a few times just to make sure the cadence was ahead of the Elise for the objectives as well as lane pressure. And then translated that into a Dragon Herald. Dragon Herald. Dragon. Objective ping pong. Assassin is really fed. And now with the mythic itemization purchase on point. Didn't stick around here to clean this. Straight to Duskblade, straight bottom lane. Made impact again. And that's what got the Kha'Zix really fed. They at least did a good job, but I think the early dive here is bad because your bottom lane had an advantage and then they lost their heal. And she died. So you gave the enemy bottom lane something back, whereas the Kha'Zix didn't make that same mistake with Kayle. Shen did a good job just completely zoning and demolishing her later on. And nice little shove with the Lulu for the dive. And that really opened up the game, so. Hopefully a little bit of a window into how Kha'Zix can be played with Dark Harvest. Remember, 15 stacks, it is a hugely snowballing rune. Electrocute is always your best default if you want single target annihilation. But Dark Harvest is, again, the most popular. Well, let's double check that. It definitely is one of the best performing at the moment. Yeah, it's the most popular as well. So people are shifting away from the Electrocute into the Dark Harvest for the snowball. The game isn't more snowbally. Okay? The game is the same snowbally, but it can feel as such with people fighting a bit more to limit test the itemization. So really plays into a Dark Harvest mindset. Anyway, sorry for the few misspoken areas. Still kind of getting used to doing this really informally. Hope you enjoyed it regardless. Don't forget to like, share, and comment to this channel as well as the main channel. Join me in Planet 9, and I will see you all in the next video. Sure.